Okay, so welcome back to another week. By now you will have seen our previous video, which is it's not really any of this talking, it's all action. A very good friend of mine and just doing his own silage, which maybe have some enjoyment to you. So give that a watch if you're into trail harvesters and older gear and that kind of thing. Worth a look. So today we're baling. Yeah, last night I would have raked this job. I also raked a job above near home. We're drawing this, and the next two jobs we have to do, we won't be drawing. So one of the guys will basically go raking. He'll go home and he'll hook up the rake, and he will. What'll he do? He'll go raking the two jobs that we have afterwards. So basically we've 5 places to go today, and 2 of those have already been raked, and 2 of them don't have to be drawn, so we're drawing the other ones. So once I get this one done, we will head on up to the next one that doesn't have to be drawn, which incidentally is right next to home. You would have been here before. We piped slurry in this field earlier on in the year, and definitely showed the result because there's a very, very good crop. It's a bit lighter down this end. Up the far end of the field was very, very heavy. We're putting on 6 layers of plastic, and I done 72 bales in an hour. Obviously the plastic had to be changed in the middle of that, so I'm very, very happy with that. You're really touching max output there at that kind of level. So we don't have much left, maybe 40-50 bales left here, and like I say, up to the next one then. There'll be a few sticky holes in the next one, a bit of a wet field, but we should be able to manage them nonetheless. So yeah, I'll stay going and get this one finished. We were here early this morning. We started baling around 9 o'clock, so hopefully they're on about rain this evening, which is just a theme of 2021. We're getting no run at it whatsoever, but hopefully we'll be finished before we get anything. So the more baling we're doing and the more we're getting done, I'll update you along the way. Okay, so I know we've covered it a couple of times now, but a couple of people have asked how do you use the CVXs, and it's all basically on the pedal while you're baling and that. As you can see, I have the pedal very lightly pressed now, and we're doing 1.7 miles an hour, whatever that is in kilometers. Second I take my foot off, tractor will come to a stop, and it will hold itself on a hill, which is very, very handy. In here you have a screen with 3 different modes on it. C1 basically lets you do flat out with your pedal to the floor, will do 15 kilometers an hour. C2 will do 30, and C3 will do 50. Some people call them gears, but they're not really gears. They're just basically limiting your transmission to a certain speed and changing the sensitivity of your pedal. You have your spool, you have a spool here, you have lift control, you have forward and reverse, headlamp management, plus and minus preset cruise speeds that you can set at any time, and that's your cruise control button. So that's a kind of a basic of it. Your spool valves are electric and they're timed, and you can do all sorts of things inside this menu. You can basically set up a sequence that when you lift something on this guy, say you have an air seeder that's hydraulic driven or something like that, that your fan will cut out on the seeder. Once that's lifted, you can record all different types of sequences to do with your PTO and your hydraulics and your lift. So that's the very, very basics of it, but I always drive it in the pedal on baling. You can use it here, your plus and minuses, but I don't really like the feel of it. Crops are gone absolutely massive. The one we're just after coming from, I would say off the top of my head 15 bales to the acre. This one is going to do more than that, I'd say, because it's only paddocks here as well that they were never even grazed. They were closed since the start of the year. There's about 4 acres here, and I have 40 made already, so I'm just on my second round of the second one. And yeah, big crops. I think that's a result of basically the last 10 days. Growth has picked up a lot, and nobody has got the chance really to cut much. So if it goes on for another week or two, they'll just be crazy altogether. So you have to really slow down trying to pick up hard the knives now, hard chop this stuff, because there's just such a volume of stuff going back through it. You really want a good edge up. I checked them this morning and the edge didn't seem too bad, but definitely after today they'll be getting swapped out now. I have sharper ones ready to go, so I'll be sticking them in. And yeah, you really want to edge up with this kind of stuff, because bad edge, trying to chop big rows like that, you'll only torment yourself. So I'll stay baling away. I suppose we've another 17-18 acres to do after this. So hopefully it's not too heavy that we'll get out of it before we get too much rain. It is now around 20 past 3, and they're giving showers for 8 o'clock that way, so hopefully if it's not too heavy we'll be out of it for that time. So yeah, I'll stay motoring and we'll chat to you soon. Well, we're just going to beat the rain. We've only a couple of strokes left and we'll be out of here. We'll be done for the day. We've over 500 made today, so we've a fair bit of clipping done. I think we have maybe 41 acres picked, I think. Something around that anyway. So this stuff is light enough, thankfully, because if it was a very big crop I'd be here for another few hours yet, but we're just going to beat it by minutes, I would say. It looks like there's a lot of it coming. So yeah, I've the chance for rolling out. We'll only get another couple of bales out of it. That's our second change of the day. It's 4,000 metre rows we're using this year. So I suppose that's kind of it for now. Once they have these few drawn, we'll head away home and we're going to collect the new tractor. Hello everyone, and very welcome back. It's been a few days since we've spoke to you. We've been pretty busy, lots of various different things going on the past few days, so haven't been filming a whole pile really, just under a bit of pressure and getting things sorted out, and loads of other various things going on. But basically this is the first look at the new girl. It came 2 days ago and it pretty much hasn't stopped since. Yeah, so she pretty much hasn't stopped since it came, and it's going, touch wood. All we had was a bit of a diesel leak, and we're having an error, and that error is my own fault. It's a lift error. I was doing a bit of fooling around. Basically the lift had to be calibrated, and you can calibrate yourself. I rang a very knowledgeable caseman, and he talked me through the process of calibrating it. So I calibrated it because she was power hour on the day she came. She was setting grass seeds, and I couldn't use this to start off, and it was a bit annoying. So I rang for a bit of help, and he talked me through the whole process, which I really appreciate. But basically I did calibrate it. He told me what to do, but I was a bit of a cheeky boy and I didn't exactly follow what he told me to do because I was in a rush. It was the day was shoving on me and I had an awful lot to do. So I did calibrate it, but I didn't calibrate it thoroughly, shall we say, and my lift wasn't going to the very top before, we'll say, it was cutting out. So to put it on the baler, I wanted my lift arms up out of the way fully, and you can just plug out your position sensor and lift your lifts to the last, and that's why she's flashing an error there, because our position sensor is plugged out. So other than that, she's showing no faults, thankfully. It's absolutely flying it, savage going it. Very well spec tractor, one of the very last of them. 2012. It has, well, this one is broken, but it has electric mirrors, heated electric mirrors, which are controlled up here. It also has 5 spool valves, which would be a small bit unusual. This is also a valve, and front linkage and PTO. So yeah, a very well spec machine, very tidy, and absolutely thrilled with it. The tier 3 cab is lovely. It's very nice. You're actually sitting a bit lower as well, which is you have a better view out of them. Whereas the tier 2s, you have your kind of slanted roof. Does obstruct your view a bit. So yeah, that's basically her. I'll give a walk around her in the morning probably, because by the time she comes, or by the time I'm home, it'll be dark and we won't see a whole pile. One thing we did do, and it was the very first thing I did do, was changed a lot of the lights, because it had very gaudy LED lights on it, front and back, and I changed those. We have prisms on the front from Trailer Spares, and we have Sparex replacement lights on the back. We also have Sparex LEDs in the roof, which are a direct replacement too. So we'll do a bit of comparison, and then we'll see what difference is in the front and the back, because they're around the same money, I think. So we'll see which light works better. Other than that, we are under all merciful amount of pressure. We have some amount of stuff down and some amount of stuff still to knock. It's all kicking off now this weekend. So the drone footage will probably be one non-existent. I just really have too much to be doing to fly the drone. Look, I'll probably see what I'll film over the next few days. Like I say, we were under an awful lot of pressure the last few days, and I didn't film a whole pile. The weather really isn't playing ball with us. It's like this every day, but your forecast is saying rain, so everyone is holding tough. This stuff was cut 2 days ago, and it's nice. It's you know, it's fit to bale it. It's a pity really, because it's been like that all the week. We did get some grass eating done, but you know, we could have an awful lot more baling done. We're out baling every day, but it's just an awful pity that, you know, I wasn't, even if people knew that it wasn't going to be that sunny, but it was going to stay dry, they probably would have cut away and left the stuff down for an extra day or whatever. But it is a bit annoying. But what can we do? Earlier on today, we done our first bit of grouping. I don't know whether I told you, we got the groupers going since, and it actually wasn't an electrical fault. I done a bit of poking there one evening, and it was, if you put your hand on the hydraulic pump, and there was no, you'd know the hydraulic pump wasn't running. So I ripped the hoses off the hydraulic pump for the groupers, and there was no oil coming out of them, so I knew we had some sort of internal issue. And I slid out the hydraulic pump, and there was a little geared coupling goes on the front of that, and the nut had fallen off of that. So that was basically why our groupers weren't working. Just slide back on our coupling, thread up our nut, and away she went again. So she's been flying since, thank God. And yeah, he's actually below me here in this place mowing at the moment. But earlier on today, he mowed some stuff directly in front of me, and he grouped it, and we picked it up, no bother. And the corners were a bit of an issue. The row is very wide. It's the full width of the pickup. So when it comes to taking your corners, it is a bit of an issue. We have two issues. Is our pickup isn't lifting that high now. It's lifting very small amount, and that is due to there's a different hitch on this tractor, so we had to adjust the drawbar, and now our pickup movement is severely restricted. But I was on to McHale's, and they did tell me there is some sort of kit, modification kit, to be fitted after a certain serial number. So I gave them my serial number and they were going checking it out, and they were to get back to me, and they did tell me it'd be a couple of days before he'd let me know. So we'll have to plug away as we are, but we're managing fine, as you can see here anyway. So yeah, I have some discing to do in the morning. I think if I can get there's a bit of a repair to do to the disc arrow, so if I can get that done tonight, I'll go discing there early in the morning, and we'll be back at grass most of the day tomorrow. Okay, so we had our camera fitted this morning, and made a small bit of an adjustment to our pickup again, and I have more clearance now anyway, so all is good. We have one tractor out raking, one is mowing, and one is rowing, and obviously one is baling. So we're short of stuff at the minute. He has a bit of a draw with these, so there won't be a whole pile here, maybe 60-70 bales. So probably when I'm finished, I'll just gather them with the loading shovel, make it a lot quicker for him drawing them, and should improve the whole thing. And then I'll go to the next one, because the next place I'm going, they have to draw them as well, so it's kind of in my best interest to speed them up as much as I can. So yeah, that's the theme of the day. I still haven't given a walk around this. I honestly haven't had a chance to give a few minutes walking around it and a bit of talking and showing you all about it, but we should be able to get to do that at some stage today. Like I've already said to you, crops are very, very heavy this year. Everywhere we're going, we're making huge, huge crops, and it's just slow, I suppose. It's slowing us down an awful lot, but thankfully we get paid by the bale and not by the acre, so it's not bothering us too much. But ground conditions are fairly poor as well still at the same time, so it's not an ideal year, but we have to take them as we get them. Not a whole lot we can do about it. So yeah, I'll stay baling away. Once I get this field finished, I'll start grouping them together, make it faster for the tractor and trailer drawn. Well, welcome back to another day. We're baling some tedded grass that was tedded a couple of times, and there's some monumental lumps of them. It's very, very slow picking, but we're nearly there now. We've over 200 here, probably another 40 that way, and then we're on to the next job, which thankfully isn't tedded, so progress should be a bit smoother. Crops are just kind of a bit heavy, and it's hard pick tedded stuff. So last night we had a bit of an electrical issue. I had no parking lights working, but I gave a look at it there late last night and early this morning, and just a small enough issue in the finish, and we got it sorted, so all that's working now again, and just flying away other than that. After this job, but what do you do in tedded grass? Let me know. I've my PTO speed down a bit there now. I'm just at the 540, whereas usually I would be up in 570, 580. I could probably go a bit slower. My reckoning is my rotor just isn't as aggressive at the slower PTO speed, so it's basically not pulling as much grass as it would be with your higher PTO speeds. I haven't been put on powder in a while. I suppose if the weather is going to improve somewhat, people aren't too, the stuff is getting a good wilt on it. Powder isn't exactly necessary. So at the moment, my powder box is a very, very expensive bin, because I'm just throwing my bits of rubbish off of my rack, or off of my net cartons into it. So yeah, very expensive bin, but handy to have it all the same. So I get through this knotted, twisted mess, and I'll get on to the next job. And later on in the day, we'll give you an update. The Volvo and the 6290 are drawing the bales here. They're just in the next field. This is our 6th field here, so quite a bit in this job, but we're nearly there. So yeah, we'll update you shortly. Okay, so the day is moving on us now. We have 2 stops left after this, and we're on about 550 now, so probably maybe 70, 80 here, another 100 in the next one, and probably only about 15, 20 in the one after that. If we do them all, maybe might leave one at the walk in the morning. I'm not quite sure yet, but we'll see how we get on. This field was one of the first fields that was filmed. This was the first field that was filmed, and it was actually our first piping job with slurry. So that's a good bit ago. Time doesn't belong moving on. And this is the first tractor I've driven in 3 years, I would say, because I listen to the radio. We've a radio working up here, and there is nothing to listen to on the radio. Like I said, I didn't have a face for the one in the other CVX. It was there somewhere, but I never used it. And I turned that on the other day, and I turned it off again. Not much worth listening to. Classic hits, if you can get it, it's worth listening to, but a lot of the time you can't get it. So most of the other ones are pretty crap. Our fuel gauge is a bit wonky. You can see it'll start wagging from time to time, so I must give a look into that. But other than that, nothing really to report. All is good. So yeah, I'm going to bale away. Our last job was very, very heavy, very heavy. But luckily it wasn't headed, so we were able to make a bit more progress, thankfully. And this one now hasn't been tethered either, so I can drive on a bit, doing roughly 8 kilometers an hour there the whole time. So when you're covering ground at that kind of speed, you wouldn't be long making a good bit of progress. So yeah, I'll stay motoring, and I'll update you there later on, kind of, I suppose, when we're finishing up, or when maybe they're drawing next to me. Well, we're tipping away through it. This field is quite wet, but it's actually, to be fair, it's very travelable. I thought it would be far, far worse than it is, but we're escaping away, no bother whatsoever. Just a very odd spot. I have to leave a bale off before I travel through it, but it wouldn't be anything unusual around this neck of the woods. As you can see, we have our Sparex lights in the back. A very, very good light out of them. They're just basically 2 4-inch square LED lights. They're kind of they look like your original lights. It's something I always look for when I'm looking for lights. But some of that stuff looks kind of gaudy on tractors, so trying to pick the right ones is hard sometimes, but they're Sparex ones anyway, and they're a savage right out of them. After this we probably have another 150 to make. I won't get to that third place we were on about. I'll get there early in the morning. Shoving this yoke on now, as hard as she'll take it. Trying to get through the stuff, but some power in this tractor. Savage altogether. I'd say she'd be better than the TVT. I don't know whether she's chipped or not, but when you sink the shoe, the cloud of smoke out of her, she's definitely all alive anyway. So I'll stay motoring away, keep pumping these out, and we'll give you an update later on. Okay, so we're nearly there. I've only 2 rows left to pick up here, and we're finished for the evening. Thank God. Touching 2 o'clock in the morning now. So he is just drawing them all to headlands basically. We've been doing quite a bit of that over the last few days because we're just not going to be able to draw. Just too many bales of nurses. You'll want 10 men with you to be shifting them. They're such crap. So we'll be back in a couple of days. The first wet day we get, probably maybe a day or 2's drawn to do. But they'll be finding the headlands anyway, the crows won't touch them when they're in by the ditch. So I'm going to get these rows wrapped up and I'll head for bed, and we'll be out very early again in the morning, and then Monday we have 2 jobs. We have one big job, there'll probably be a lot of 450 bales in it, I'd say, and they have to be drawing a bit of a journey as well, so that'll keep us occupied for most of Monday. And that's it as far as I know. Oh, there is one job for Tuesday, but I don't think it's much. So once Tuesday comes, we'll probably be sticking in the drawing them, and yeah, it'll be another bit over us. Knocking them away the whole time. You'll be surprised another couple of weeks, the majority wouldn't be done, and then you'll be into second cuts, which probably will be an awful lot of again this year, because the first cut's been so heavy. Probably a lot of pit lads will end up baling second cuts, so that's something that will happen. So yeah, I'm gonna head home and hit the bit.